My team and I have been studying how top L&D departments measure training success. And let me tell you, the results shocked me. I analyzed 2 measurement approaches with the exact same training programs, the exact same participants, and pretty much the exact same content. The only significant difference was how they measured success. One used traditional satisfaction surveys, and one used actual behavior tracking. Can you guess which one have justified a 200% budget increase, while the other got their L&D funding cut by 40%? Yeah, my jaw was on the floor too. Hi, I'm Derek, a seasoned HR professional and a scientist with a PhD in management. Today, I'm showing you a side-by-side comparison of these 2 measurement systems. I will show you exactly why a relatively small change in what you measure can make such a massive difference in executive buy-in. If you are an L&D professional, training manager, or anyone responsible for proving training ROI, this one is definitely for you. Both of these measurement systems were tracking the same sales training program at a Fortune 500 company. And if you haven't realized yet that surveys are killing your credibility with executives, then what are you even doing? I'm going to show you the exact methods that finally got CFOs saying, give them more budget instead of prove these programs work. Now, as I mentioned, I intentionally found a scenario where the training content was identical because I only wanted to show how the measurement approach affects executive perception and budget decisions. We've worked hard to identify why most L&D measurements failed to convince executives. Analyzing dozens of successful programs and presentations, we found a measurement framework that consistently gets budget approval instead of budget cuts. The framework focuses on tracking actual performance changes rather than participant opinions. The results have been transformative for every organization that implements it properly. So, today, let's talk about real numbers and we'll make data-backed decisions. That way, you can make smarter choices about your training program based on proven strategies, not generic HR consultant advice. First, here's what really happened. While you're measuring satisfaction scores, your competitors are measuring business impact. They are using real performance data to optimize programs, prove ROI, and secure bigger budgets for even better results. The cost of relying on surveys isn't just embarrassment in board meetings. It's watching training budgets getting slashed because you can't prove value. It's seeing talent leave because development programs aren't developing anyone, or they might be, but right now you have no data to prove they do so. Companies like Google, Amazon, and Salesforce stopped relying on training surveys years ago. They measure what people do after training, not they say they will do. But how do you measure what people do? You track their work performance through existing systems. CRM data for sales behavior, project management tools for productivity changes, customer service metrics to support quality improvements. The data is already there. You just need to connect it to your training programs. Even smaller organizations are seeing dramatic results. Training departments that switch from survey-based measurements to performance tracking report 60% higher budget approval rates and 30% better executive confidence in L&D investments. A long time ago, before the new measurement system was implemented, this Fortune 500 company was using the standard approach: satisfaction surveys, completion rates, and knowledge checks right after training. I have to admit, their completion rates were already pretty good at 78% because these were mandatory sales training programs. And while their satisfaction scores average 4.2 out of 5, which is above average according to most industry benchmarks, this traditional approach was getting close to zero executive attention. But by simply changing what they measured and how they presented results, they were able to justify not just budget projection, but a massive 200% increase for the following year. The new measurement system was implemented in January, so they had a full year of data to compare. But before we look at the actual measurement systems and exactly what changed, here's the exact data from the 12-month period before and after this Fortune 500 company switched approaches. The traditional measurements showed 78% completion rate, 4.2 out of 5 average satisfaction score. 85% of participants said would recommend the training. 92% passed the final knowledge assessment. This looked good on paper, but executives kept asking, so how does this help the business? Then the new measurement system launched and they were tracking the same training program but focusing on completely different metrics. Sales performance increased 23% for program participants versus non-participants. Average deal size grew 31% within 90 days post-training. Customer retention rates improved 18% for accounts managed by trained reps. Time to close deals decreased by 15 days on average. Crazy difference, right? But you've got to actually switch to measuring the right things in order to be able to present the data like this. And here's exactly how they measure these results. And I'm going to walk you through this like you're setting it up yourself, because this process is much simpler than most L&D departments think. Picture this. You already have all the data you need sitting in your company's systems right now. The problem is nobody's connecting the dots. Before we start connecting training to business results, we first need to start the data collection process. For example, they had 40 sales reps who went through negotiation training. Instead of sending out satisfactory surveys, here's what they did. They started off by going into their Salesforce CRM and pulled 3 months of baseline data for every single participant. They looked at individual close rates, how many deals each rep won versus how many they worked on. They tracked average deal size in dollars. They measured sales cycle length, which is how many days from the first contract to signed contract, and they monitored activity metrics like calls made, meeting held, proposals sent. But here's the key part. Most L&D teams misses the scientific approach. They also grabbed the same data for 50 similar performing reps who did not get the training. This control group is absolutely crucial, because without it, you can't prove training caused the improvement versus market conditions or seasonal changes. Now, here's where it gets interesting. After the training ended, they didn't measure results immediately. They measured at 30 days to see immediate impact, 90 days to check if behavior change stuck, and 180 days to confirm long-term retention. And now we know what to measure, but how to connect this to business results to later on present to the CFOs. Using Excel and a Tableau, they run some basic math to see if the training actually worked. Now, I will break down the so-called t-test for you so that you can introduce it yourself later on. Let's say John from sales went from closing 30% of his deals before training to closing 38% after training. That's an improvement. But the question is, did the training cause this, or did John just get lucky with easier clients that month? To figure this out, they looked at their control group, those 50 reps who didn't get training. If John improved by 8 percentage points, but the untrained reps also improved by 7 percentage points on average, the training only contributed 1 percentage point of improvement. Not very impressive. But if untrained reps stayed flat at 30%, while John jumped to 38%, that's solid evidence training made the difference. The t-test is just a way to mathematically confirm this isn't coincidence. Think of it like this. If you flip a coin 10 times and get 7 heads, is that lucky or rigged? A t-test tells you the probability that your results happened by random chance. If that probability is less than 5% or super low, you can be confident that training worked. Customer retention rates were tracked by comparing customers managed by trained reps versus untrained reps, basically who kept their customers and who lost them. They also looked at the customer satisfaction scores and contract renewals rate to see which group of reps had happier, more loyal customers. And now here's the actual math that convinced executives, and you can use this exact formula. The training investment was $94,000 total. Program development cost $45,000, instructor time was $25,000, and employee time calculated as 40 people times 4 hours times $75 per hour came to $24,000. The measurable returns were massive. Increased revenue from 23%, performance improvement generated $890,000 annually. Reduced customer churn saved $145,000. Faster deal closure, 15 days shorter cycle times added $67,000 in value. Total annual return, $1,100,000 $102,000. The ROI calculation is simple. Return minus investment divided by investment times 100. That's $1,102,000 minus 94,000 divided by 94,000 times 100 equals 1,072% return on investment. Okay, but most L&D teams sabotage their measurement without realizing it. They cherry-pick timeframes after seeing results instead of committing to measurement periods before training starts. They ignore statistical significance and present coincidental improvements as training wins. They don't account for ramp-up time and expect immediate results. Most critical, they mix correlation with causation and can't prove training actually caused the improvements. This company avoided all these traps. They used proper sample sizes, ran t-tests with p-values less than 0.05, measured at multiple intervals to show progression, and used control groups to isolate training impact from other variables. So, what implementation timeline should you follow if you want to do this yourself? Week 1 through 2 is data infrastructure set. Identify existing systems with performance data, establish baseline measurement periods, create control group selection criteria. Week 3 through 4 is pre-training data collection. Pull historical performance data, validate quality and completeness, set up tracking templates and processes. During the training delivery period, maintain normal measurement processes and document any external factors that might affect results. Week 1 through 12 post-training is ongoing measurement. Collect performance data at proper intervals, run statistical analysis monthly, prepare executive reports focused on business impact. Now, remember when I said about the executive presentation? That changes everything. Instead of traditional training reports, they presented results using this exact structure. Slide 1. Business problem. Sales performance was declining 8% year-over-year. Slide 2. Investment made. 94% investment in target sales training. Slide 3. Measurable results. 23 performance improvement equals 1.1 million additional revenue. Slide 4. ROI calculation. 1,072% return on investment within 12 months. Slide 5. Next steps. Scale successful program to remaining 200 sales reps. Of course, this is like a slightly simplified version, but most importantly, very appealing to the decision makers in the business. The key insight that changed everything for this company was simple. All this performance data already existed in their systems. They just had to systematically connect training participation records to business outcomes and apply proper statistical analysis instead of relying on satisfaction surveys that tell you nothing about actual impact. They care about the results, but business results. Now, it's time for the moment you've been waiting for. Let's look and compare these measurement systems side by side. So, the traditional approach in L&D is measurement that focuses on inputs and feelings rather than outputs and results. Traditional metrics ask questions like, how satisfied were you with the training? Would you recommend the program to colleagues? Rate the instructor's effectiveness. Did you find the content relevant? These metrics are measuring the training experience, not the training impact. However, in contrast, the performance-based approach, the new measurement system I talked about today, focuses entirely on behavioral and business changes. Individual performance metrics before and after training. Team performance comparisons, trained versus untrained. Business outcome correlations over 3, 6, and 12-month periods. System usage data showing adoption of trained skills. Manager observations of behavioral changes. So the key insight is, instead of asking people what they learned, we measured what they actually did differently. The performance-based approach uses 5 specific measurement methods. Number 1. Direct performance tracking. Instead of asking, did you learn objection handling techniques? They track actual conversion rates for each salesperson before and after training. The data showed trained reps had 23% higher close rates within 50 days. Number 2. Comparative analysis. They compared performance between trained and untrained teams. Trained teams showed 31% higher average deal values and 15% faster deal closure time. Number 3. Long-term behavior monitoring. Using CRM data, they tracked whether reps were actually using the new sales methodologies, they learned. 87% showed consistent application of trained techniques after 6 months. Number 4. Manager observation reports. So instead of self-assessment surveys, sales managers reported specific behavioral changes they observed in trained reps during actual client meetings. Number 5. Business impact correlation. Connect training participation directly to revenue outcomes, customer retention, or territory performance improvement. The difference in executive reception was night and day. Traditional metrics got responses like, "That's nice, but what's the business impact?" Performance metrics got responses like, "This is exactly what we need more of. How quickly can we scale this?" What makes the difference is that any extra step between training and business results creates credibility gaps, and credibility gaps are budget killers. While traditional surveys look clean and scientific, they actually distance you from proving real value. Having performance data directly embedded in your measurement approach removes entire layers of doubt from approval process. If I were to make a data-backed decision here, I would say this: executives don't care about training satisfaction, they care about training results. Stop measuring how people feel about your programs and just start measuring what changes in their actual work performance. This performance-based approach works especially well for skills training that has measurable outcomes like sales, customer service, leadership behaviors, safety compliance. I'm dying to know, what measurement challenge do you want to see tackled in the next video? Comment below and let me know. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any new videos. And check out this video where we showed you how Duolingo uses psychological hacks to make people addicted to learning.